Welcome to your reading. So I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to title this, but a subscriber suggested that I do a reading where we take a look at how men typically view you, like first impressions kind of thing, and then essentially how their perception changes over time once they get to know you better. And I also thought, just while we're here, for those of you who are single, why don't we just get a little bit of details about your next romantic partner? So we will do that at the end. For those of you who are interested, if you're not, obviously you can just click off of the reading once we get through the first messages. So I don't usually do this, but we're going to start with your oracle cards today. All right. Group 1. I'm working with limited decks because I'm in the process of moving, so a lot of my stuff is packed. All right, Group 1. How do men typically view you first impression? Group 1. She who is wild. Untamed, wild, and mysterious. Okay, now we're going to get a card to represent how their perception of you evolves once they get to know you better. I feel like this kind of reading is helpful if you're dating, or just if you're curious as to how people view you in general. But let's see. How do men view you or perceive you once they get to know you better? And obviously we're speaking in broad strokes, right? Okay. She who enfolds. You know what? That's actually funny. Okay. You're one of those people where they sort of feel like the more I get to know you, the less I feel like I know you. It's kind of like, okay, those Russian dolls? It's like, okay, I got past the first layer, and now there's another layer. Okay, I got past that layer, now there's another layer. It's just like I feel like there's something about your energy where, it's just like unwrapping a gift, but then there's another layer of wrapping instead of getting to the actual present. And so, there's a lot of layers to you, like in Shrek with the onion. There's a lot of layers to you, Group 1. And I feel like that, you see the repeating birds here. So some of you, maybe you're a Gemini or an air sign, but you don't have to be. But there's something about your energy where it's hard to put you into a box. It's hard to label you as one thing. And, there's aspects of you that come out in certain situations that might be surprising. It's like, wow, I wasn't expecting that from them. But it's like the more they get to know you, the more they come to expect the unexpected. The more they start to understand, like, oh, Group 1 is not as straightforward as I once thought. They are there's something about your energy. You may be a water sign too, but it's just hard to kind of pin you down. You may have like a little bit of flavor of like manic panic, like pixie dream girl, but I feel like you're really free-spirited. I do feel like you're quite spiritual, and that may be a thing too where they don't expect you to be quite so spiritual or interested in tarot or the occult, astrology, stuff like that. That may come as a surprise, but yeah, there's just this aspect of you where you're not easy to confine to any sort of stereotype, and I think this really comes from your authenticity. And you see how she's like cocooned in like all of these blankets? It's like, how if you think about, I guess there being like layers to somebody, you would think that there would be like a hard outer shell, right? With you, it's not like that. You're not coming off as like cold and mean or anything like that. You just like you're softly enveloped in like this like self-protection, and so it doesn't feel like there's like this harsh wall. It feels just like I could melt into this person, and it's kind of like quicksand. It's like, when will I reach the bottom? When will I reach the core of group one? There's so much depth to them. There's so much more than meets the eye to group one, but it's like I don't even know like when I'm gonna get to the core of who they are. Like, people, not to like romanticize you a lot, group one, but I guess I'm doing that. And you may find that men romanticize you, and maybe that's why I'm picking up that energy, but it's just like I could melt into group one. I could get lost in group one. And so there may be certain times, I think especially when you're dating, where you'll be talking and it seems like they're not paying attention. Like, there's something about your energy where it's like I could get lost just like staring into group one's eyes. Like, I could get lost in just the sound of their voice or the sound of their laugh. It's just like there's something about your energy where it can be sometimes hard to stay present with you because they get kind of disconnected. There's something about your energy where it's almost like pulling someone's mind into a fantasy or pulling someone's mind into a daydream about you. And so it's like, it's hard for me to stay grounded in this moment and talking with you and participating in this conversation because of that, I guess like that energy of like romanticizing you and just getting lost in like what could be, because there's something about your energy that also opens up a lot of possibilities. And so I think there's also this energy, and this is funny. So I remember when I got Gracie, my cat, for my cousin, and I had been asking all these questions about like her history with the vet and how often my cousin had taken her to the vet, which the answer to that was basically never. And so, like I'm really big on like just keeping up with like her routine checkups. And my cousin had said, well, Gracie's pretty self-contained. And I was like, what does that mean, self-contained? She's like, she's just good on her own. She doesn't need a lot. And there's something about your energy that's like that. If you think about someone being independent, you could think of that being as more of like a harsh, masculine, like assertive energy, but no, like you are whole and complete within yourself, and you have this energy of like, I can take care of myself, I'm good on my own over here on my own beautiful island kind of thing. But it's not in a way where it's like this aggressive masculine kind of energy. Like, it's still very soft and feminine and kind of just like how the plants outside do their own thing, like you're like a wildflower, I guess. It's just like I'm good, like I don't need any like constant attention. I don't need someone else to come over here and take care of me. Like, I'm self-sustaining, I guess, is sort of the energy here. But again, like it's in a very like natural, feminine way of like, I feel like there's an aspect of you where you kind of, at least you appear this way to men, like you kind of go with the flow. You're sort of in your own rhythm, and it's like difficult for someone else to be welcomed into that. So it's like there's an aspect of you that feels unobtainable. There's an aspect of you that feels hard to reach. And you may find yourself being chased a lot or like pursued a lot. Or you may find that men don't approach you at all because you just seem too hard to get. So, I could see it going, both ways, really. And it probably depends upon the type of man, quite frankly, whether they like a challenge or not, or a perceived challenge, I guess I should say, because this is all just their perception, okay? Like how they're viewing you. I'm not saying this is 100% how you are, but more so how they're perceiving you. So yes, you are an enigma. You are a paradox within yourself. You definitely seem mysterious. I feel like we've explained that. And you have this aspect of you too where you don't seem codependent. You don't seem clingy. You don't seem like someone who wants to tie someone else down, and you don't seem like you want to be tied down yourself. Doesn't mean you don't want to be in a relationship, but you don't want to feel chained to anything. Like there's a deep aspect of your soul that just wants freedom. And that doesn't mean that you don't, again, want human connection or a relationship, but just that you have to feel free within yourself. I mean, that's just something that's quite important to you. You're very wise as well. I don't know if men necessarily recognize that about you, but you are very wise. You are very wise. Don't let anyone try to school you or talk down to you, because you have a lot of wisdom. No matter how old you are, you could be in your early 20s. Doesn't matter. You have a lot of wisdom, okay? I feel like for some of you, you may end up feeling a bit like a mom figure to men. There may be certain men in your life, it could be like a younger sibling that you're like a mom to, if you have like a younger brother, younger nephews, cousins, things like that. It could be that when you're dating, you attract men who want that sort of maternal energy from you, and you may like that or you may not. May depend upon your Venus sign placement, and whether you like to be in that energy, okay? So, if you feel like, Bethany, I seem to attract these like man children. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that from your cards. I could see that being, a worry or a concern for you. And it's not your fault, but it's just this feminine energy, and men who are in this like debilitated or distorted masculine energy are like feeding off of that feminine energy, right? Okay. Let's get some more messages now. So we'll get one tarot card for the first impression. We got so many messages just based off of those two cards. I think sometimes it's good to change stuff up. Probably helpful that I started with your oracle. Okay, I feel like the sun was really wanting to come out. There, you may have like a little bit of like a hippie vibe, or like a bohemian, or maybe even like a witchy aesthetic. Like there's just something like flower child, cottagecore, fairy-like. I don't know. There's something that's like almost hyper feminine. It may not be like your aesthetic or how you dress, but it's your energy. Okay, and then we have the Three of Pentacles and the Queen of Wands. Okay. Alrighty then. So, in terms of that initial first impression, they definitely, with the Sun card here, remember how I was saying like some men may feed off of that energy? Yeah, with the Sun, yeah. You're definitely coming across as someone who is optimistic, someone who is, like with the Free Spirit card and the Sun, there's a resiliency to you, but there's also this aspect of you that seems, I don't want to say childlike, but it's more of like, you know how free a child can be before there's all of these like rules and restrictions imposed upon them and they get super self-conscious? oh, I shouldn't be doing that. Oh, if I do that, I'm going to get in trouble. You know, that kind of thing. It's like you are still able to tap into that energy of like not feeling restricted by, I guess, what greater society or even like your family or your friends say you should behave in a certain way, dress in a certain way, talk in a certain way, like certain things, dislike certain things. You know, you're not, you don't fall into that, I guess. You know, like you don't succumb to that. There's a real strength to you. Some of you may be Leos. You may be my Leo group with the Sun card energy, but yeah, you have a heart of gold, you know, and there's like a purity to that of like, you know, I'm gonna be true to me. And I do feel like men do pick that up. Like, you are not the type to be easily controlled. You are not the type that can be manipulated, because there's such an honesty to that, right? There's such an honesty to being authentic and to not be afraid to put yourself out there and to not worry if someone else thinks that you're being foolish, or, you know, and to not worry about the judgment of others, and just to say like, this is me, this is who I am. You know, with the Sun card, it's like, I am. Like, the sun just is. Like, I am who I am, and you can take it or you can leave it kind of deal. And so I think men pick up on that, and they find out pretty quick that, you know, there's the door. You know, like if you cannot accept me for who I am, there's the door. You know, like that's your sort of attitude about things, and that's what makes you seem wild and free and not restricted, right? Like, that's what, you know, allows your energy to be so expansive. And that creates this feeling of warmth that comes from you too, because it's just honest and true. And I think you're unintentionally quite inspiring to people in that way. People in general, not just men. Probably, you know, especially if you're a woman watching this, inspirational to other women, of just the power of knowing who you are and accepting yourself and loving yourself and saying this is what it is. And especially with the Queen of Wands here, like, you definitely could be a Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. So we're getting a lot of like zodiac placements here. So I wouldn't get too bogged down in that, but if you want to take that as confirmation, you can. Of course, I mean, I've named everything at this point except for Earth signs, and we have the Three of Pentacles, which is associated with Earth sign energy. So this could be quite a diverse group. I will say that, but yeah. Anyway, now, and here's the thing too. You may deal with men not taking you seriously. You know, there may be some men who just see you as someone who's really fun, and they may see you as flighty, and they may see you as someone who's like charming, but may see you in more of like a surface level light. And then again, like as they get to know you better, they're like, oh, I misjudged this one. This one has a lot more depth than I realized. And yeah, I think it may be also because maybe you like to joke around a lot, and I feel like for some reason, especially with like women who are funny, it's like, I don't know, like people think you're like ditzy or something. I don't know what it is, but it's like you can't crack a joke without someone, like misinterpreting that as like you not being very smart, which, I mean, it takes a clever person to be funny. So I've never understood that, but I've noticed that with women who are funny. But anyways, so as they get to know you better, I think they would be quite surprised actually at how, if you're not in a place right now in your career where you want to be, you will definitely get there with this Three of Pentacles, okay? But you're going places. If you're not there yet, you are going places, and you have a vision, you are very creative, and you do have a talent. And regardless of what that talent is, I feel like men would be surprised to know just how far you can go with it. And the more that they get to know you, I feel like they would start to understand, like, oh, group one does have the potential to be like a business owner, to promote their brand, to sell their product, to create content. Like, because, I mean, Queen of Wands and the Three of Pentacles, this is like you know, you own your own business, you work for yourself, and you are the creator behind all of it. You are the creative energy that is fueling all of it. And so, you know, the Queen of Wands is quite passionate, and it's very action oriented. You know, it's your willpower, and you've got that. And you've also got the talent and the skill, because with the Three of Pentacles, your work is a cut above the rest. And so I feel like men don't get that. And, you know, they see you as like a fun time, and then as they get to know you better, they're like, oh, no, like this person does have things that they're really quite serious about and that they're working on. And so I feel like maybe you don't brag a lot, you don't, you know, discuss your dreams or your goals with people, you just kind of work quietly. And so it wouldn't be until they got to know you a lot better that they got to see that side of yourself come out, okay? All right. Also, you know, maybe sunflowers are your favorite flower. Okay, let's see if you're interested in men romantically. How do they see you as a romantic partner or as a love interest? How do men tend to see my group ones? Hopefully you don't hear the washing machine in the background. I have the door closed, but okay. I'll be honest, and I don't want to upset anybody, but I will say, in the beginning, I definitely feel like there are a lot of men who see you as someone who's really fun, and they may just want a physical relationship with you, and, you know, that's just sort of the category that they put you in, you know, is like, oh, and they may even sort of use you as sort of like a status thing, like, oh, look at how attractive group one is, you know, I can pull a woman like that, or I can pull a person like that, you know, like sometimes men use their partners or the people that they're sleeping with or the people that they're dating as a way to validate their masculinity, like, oh, you know, I'm such a smooth talker, or I'm so rich, or I am so attractive myself that I'm able to pull someone who is as attractive as group one. Or you may attract men who are older than you, and they're like, oh, look, I can still pull a 20-something-year-old or whatever. So just take what resonates, but I am seeing that, and I'm sorry if that is something that's really difficult for you, but it is coming through. I do think that as they get to know you, sorry, I don't know what that is outside. Hopefully you can't hear it, but as they get to know you better, and as sort of those, I don't know, like men who aren't really wanting to offer you anything, and if you're interested in a long-term partnership, honestly, I feel like you would cut those men off regardless, because you're just not putting up with it. But the people who stay, the men who actually stay around long enough to get to know you on a deeper level, would see the long-term potential to build something with you, because you're bringing a lot to the table, group one. Like, you're not sitting over here on your laurels, relaxing, not doing nothing. Like, you got plans for the future, you have ambition, you're, you know, putting that work in to make it happen. Like, you're doing something over here, okay? And so you have potential here for your own growth, and you're not, you know, looking for a man to, you know, make you into somebody, you know what I mean? Like, you're focused on making a name for yourself, okay? It's actually making me think of Taylor Swift's Midnight Rain, where she was like, I was chasing my own fame, trying to make my own name, something like that. I could be getting the lyrics wrong. Yeah, I definitely feel like, though, I mean, there's so much here about your physical appearance. I don't know, you must be pretty good looking, group one, or you're very charming, because there's a lot here about just wanting to sweep you off your feet, you know, wanting to romance you, admiring you from afar, and then you being, like, again, like, very self-contained, like, not really feeding into that, you seeming like you're playing hard to get, but really I feel like you're just focused on yourself, on your own island, enjoying your own energy kind of thing. Yeah, it's like, and here's the thing too, like, you may have these like unwanted advances from men, and some of them may come at you like, well, look at how you're dressed, you know, like that kind of sexist nonsense, especially if you're a woman. So yeah, I wouldn't, yeah, like you do have men who come to you like they're admiring you, but then it's like if you don't give them attention back, or you're not receptive to their romantic advances, then I feel like some of them can get nasty with you, like just be rude for no good reason. Like, you dress however you want to dress, group 1. You don't owe anybody anything. Yeah, like Cinderella vibes, like, well, you know, like I was just here for the party, I wasn't looking for a husband. Yeah, you just want to have a good night, you just want to enjoy yourself. And you know, if they want to make it into something else, that's on them, but you don't owe anybody anything. Yeah, I don't feel like all men treat you like that, but I do feel like for some of you, you've encountered that kind of thing. And for you especially too, you're not the kind of woman, if you are a woman watching this, you're not the kind of woman to compete for a man's attention, or you know how like some women can be kind of like catty towards their friends, or just towards other women in general about their appearance, or you know, they want the attention of like their best friend's boyfriend for no good reason, just to like validate their own like self-esteem, that kind of thing. No, like you're the type to build other women up. You don't tear other women down or project your insecurities onto somebody else to make yourself feel better. Nah, none of that. You don't do any of that, group 1. So anyway, let's get into, now if you're single, these are going to be messages about your next romantic partner. You know, someone that you would actually date, not just someone that you would talk to and then, you know, have it just fall off after a couple days. Not someone that you would actually be in a partnership with, okay? All right, so I pre-pulled these, by the way, just for the easiness of it, because I have this like massive box full of these cards, and I don't know, I just always forget to use them. Okay, we have Forbidden Romance. So what I mean by this card is, it could be that maybe like you have certain rules for yourself, like maybe you say, I would never date someone that I work with, or I would never date someone who is a year or two older than me, or a year or two younger than me, or I would never date someone who lives far away from me, like I don't want to do long distance. You know, you may have certain rules for yourself, or you may say, like for some of you, if you're into astrology, like, oh, I would never date another Scorpio. I would never do that. And then your next partner ends up being like a Scorpio rising or something like that. Okay, so just take what resonates with that. It could mean several different things. Okay. Romance focused. Okay, this person, your next romantic partner, is going to be someone who loves the romance of it all, someone who's quite romantic. They're going to plan dates where there's like clear effort and where it's like beautiful and very like lovey-dovey. You know, it's not like, oh, let's go share a combo meal at McDonald's, you know, it's not like that. There's like effort, there's candlelight, you know, there's flowers, that kind of thing. This is the type of person who would bring a gift to the door, you know, if they were taking you out on a date. This is someone who would do nice little romantic gestures towards you. You know, someone who is very focused on the actual romance aspect of it. Okay. They could have an accent, so maybe they are someone who is from another place, so maybe it would be long distance. Some of you could say like, oh, I would never go back to online dating, and then you end up meeting someone on a dating app. Something like that could happen. But yeah, they could have an accent, so they could be from another country. or just from another place within your country. So if you're living in the United States, maybe this person is from the South and so they have a Southern accent, or maybe they're from the North and they have a Northern accent. You get what I'm saying? Okay. Your type. This person is your type. Oh, maybe you said, I'm done dating the same kind of guy or the same type of person. I want someone different, and then you end up falling for someone who still falls within your type. So maybe that's the kind of thing. Maybe you do like Scorpios and you're like, no more Scorpios though. They're bad for me. It doesn't matter if I'm attracted to them. They're bad for me. I'm just using Scorpio as an example. But anyway, you get what I'm saying, and then you end up falling for another Scorpio. So it could be like that. All right, I had so much fun with this reading. I hope you all had fun with it too. And I will see you in my next one, hopefully. And I'm wishing you the very, very best, Group 1. Yeah, have a great day. Welcome to your reading. So this video was requested by a subscriber. I don't know exactly what I'm going to title it yet, but essentially what we're going to find out is how men view you, sort of like their first impressions, versus how they view you or how they perceive you over time. So once they get to know you better, how do they perceive you? What is their perception? And we're going to have, one card. So we're going to start off with your oracle, which I know is different, but it worked out really well with Group 1. So we're going to do that with you as well. So this first card is going to be their first impression of you. And then at the end of your reading, if you're single, we're going to get some details about your next romantic partner. If you don't want to watch that part, just click off the reading. But I thought that would be like a nice little extra to do for you guys. Okay. So Group 2, and a big thank you to my guides and your guides for coordinating these messages. How do men initially perceive you? First impression. One card, please, Spirit. We have She Who Whispers, Secrets, Confessions, and Confidant. And then we'll get one card to represent how they view you once they get to know you. Group 2 here. I love the back of these cards too. Okay, we have She Who Thrives, Orchid, Flourish, Prosper, and Blossom. Okay, I love orchids. They're actually becoming my new favorite flower, I think. Okay. She Who Whispers. So you seem quiet. You seem reserved. You seem mysterious. Group 1 was also mysterious, but it was more of like this free spirit kind of thing. Like it's hard to pin Group 1 down. With you, it's just like I'm not getting a lot of information, So it could be that you don't associate with a lot of men, you don't have male friends, you don't go out of your way to talk to men, you don't, maybe you're not the type to like start up a conversation, or you don't put yourself in like social situations where there's a lot of flirting. You know how people go to like bars and things like that? You're just not that type. Like if you're in a social gathering like that, you're not going out of your way to go flirt with some guy. That's just not your deal. Group 2, and if this isn't sounding like you, again, this is how men perceive you. So you just seem like they may perceive you as a wallflower, but they just kind of see you as, you know, just kind of sticking to yourself or talking to your friends, and you're not really giving them a lot to go off of. It's like, I don't know what to make of Group 2. There's just not really a lot there. There's not a lot of information there. They're not really giving me much. You may seem like you have resting witch face, let's call it that. You may have this energy to you where you just seem unapproachable, or you seem lost in your own thoughts. You may seem like you have your head in the clouds. You may seem like the type of person who's like really quiet, but they have a very active mind. Yeah, you just seem kind of just lost in your own world, you know, not really paying much attention to any man. That's kind of what we're getting from this. But you know, it's funny, like really sort of in your own world, right? But then once they get to know you with all of these butterflies, it's like you open up, you like blossom, right? From the wallflower to blossoming, opening up, right? And so, oh, it does say blossom here. I just remembered that. Okay. Yeah, so I do think once they get to know you, though, I think they really like you. I think they like your vibe. But it's just getting you to open up, you know, getting you to come out of your shell, kind of, because you do seem so quiet. You do seem very reserved, very pulled back. They may think you're shy. You may not think you're shy, but I think they would perceive you in that way. Let's actually get some more clarification, because once you do open up, what do they see? What do they see about Group 2 once they do open up? We have the Knight of Swords. I'm just going to take that card. They do think that you're pretty funny, but in like a witty, maybe sarcastic, like dry humor sort of way. You do give really good advice. I'm hearing that as well. I do feel like the men who stick around to get to know you on a deeper level, are the men that you welcome into your life and that, you know, you do get to know on a deeper level. They do think that you offer a fresh perspective. I do think they see you as someone who has a unique perspective. And I do think that once they get to know you, they can become quite attached. You may like that, you may not like that. You may find that men who you do give that time to and you do open up to become maybe a bit dependent upon you, or you may find them to be clingy, but I do feel like, yeah, they become, I wonder if that has to do with you giving such great advice. Like, then they start to need you to help them make their decisions. You know what it's kind of giving me? Have you guys seen, oh, what's that movie called? Is it called 2 Weeks Notice? It's an old romantic comedy, and Sandra Bullock is in it, and Hugh Grant is in it. And Hugh Grant is like a successful, well, he's only successful because his dad gave him like the company, but he's kind of like a man-child, like he, you know, he's like a playboy type of thing, and he hires Sandra's character. I don't remember their names, but he hires her, I think, to be like his personal lawyer, and he starts to use her as his like 24-hour assistant, but more like, I can't decide what color shirt to wear. I can't decide, you know, like what I should do about X, Y, and Z. What should I eat tonight? Like every little decision, he keeps calling her and bothering her, and she's like so competent, and she's just so about her business. She wants to be good at her job, and they cut some kind of deal. That's the whole reason why she's working for him. But she can't take it. Like, he drives her crazy. Like, I think she quits at one point. You know, he just becomes so dependent upon her, and he starts to be just like whiny, and she's like, I can't deal with this. It's giving me that vibe, like just becoming so dependent upon you for your advice or your opinion. And it's like, well, it is flattering in one way that you value what I think and what I say so much, but at a certain point, like, be a man, like, figure it out. Yeah, that may just be for some of you, but comment down below if you've seen that movie. I actually really love that movie. It's one of my favorites. I just love Sandra Bullock. Okay, we have the Wheel of Fortune coming out now as well. There's almost, some men may romanticize you like, oh, we were meant to be together. Like, we were, like, you know, like, they may, say I love you too fast, but yeah, that may come across sometimes where you just find that men fall for you quickly. But you know why I think that is? Because you're not giving them a lot in the beginning, right? So because you're not giving them a lot of information to work off of, it's really easy for them to project certain perceptions onto you. And so they may, they may make these like assumptions about you that aren't really rooted in reality. So they may think you're just like this ultra sweet person and romanticize you in that way, or they may put you in this category of like, oh, group 2 would make a great mother, you know, something like that. And it's like, you don't really know me. You're just making all of these like assumptions, and it's like, they're showing me, when you put a canvas on like an easel, and so it's just blank, it's just white, because you're not giving them a lot of information. And so they're projecting all this stuff onto you and painting their own picture without like consulting you at all. And so it's like they've developed this entire vision, they've created this painting, this image of you that's not really rooted in reality, you know? And so, it's almost like instead of them learning who you are over time, it's like I'm having to unlearn all of these assumptions that I projected, or this image that I projected onto group 2. Like an unraveling. Okay, that's interesting. All right. Let's actually, I don't know why I didn't do this for group 1, but I'm feeling called to go back to this deck, so I'm not going to question it. Spirit, I think, is saying there's another piece to this puzzle, so let's just figure it out. She who avenges. Nemesis. Revenge, outcomes, and justice. I'm seeing tarot cards here. I wonder if some of you pull your own tarot cards, or there are some like psychics in this group. Psychic and don't know it. Maybe. Yeah, there may have been some men who broke your heart in the past, or you may have broken their heart from their perception. I do think I could see this being a thing where there may be some men who hurt you, but then they want to turn around and play the victim, like they were the ones who were wronged. And it's like, I mean, she looks kind of ticked off, right? Like, she just looks like she's looking at someone with such scorn. Like, just, you may be at a point right now where you're kind of just fed up with men as a collective, where you're like, I just clicked on this reading out of curiosity, and it's just, ugh, at this point. And maybe that's why you're not paying a lot of attention, you're not giving a lot to men, because you're like, I'm just fed up with that. I'm just fed up. Like, I've had enough. And there could be an aspect here where you're just waiting to meet someone. If you are interested in men romantically, you may just be at a point to where you're waiting for like divine intervention, for fate to bring you someone that you like karmically deserve, because you're just sick of men who hurt you again and play the victim. You're tired of that narrative. You don't want to keep repeating that. You're like, Okay. Now, the next question is going to be, how do men view you romantically if you date men? But we've kind of already gotten into that. So we'll just see if there are any additional messages here, and then we'll get some details again about your future romantic partner, if you're single, if you're interested in that. It's funny, I feel like they have this perception that you're like this meek, quiet little mouse that they can probably like just walk all over, and then they find out, you know, like over time, or they have to unlearn, you know, and dismantle that false assumption they made about you, because you're actually one tough cookie, and you're not a doormat, and you're not going to be taken advantage of. Yeah. I mean, come on. Queen of Pentacles? You're not messing with her. Yeah. I mean, you are not some damsel in distress. I mean, nah. Like, you can handle your own affairs. You don't need... It's funny, I feel like men may come in with this attitude of like, oh, look at group 2 just over there in the corner by themselves. Oh, they must be lonely. Like, let me go over there and shower them with attention, or let me coax them out of their shell. Oh, they must be really like painfully shy. You know what I mean? Like, they may like come at you like that, like you're needing something from them when you're just over there existing, living your life. And sorry if you guys hear a dog barking outside. And then it's like, if they stay in your life and they get to know you better and they unlearn all those false assumptions about you, it's like you are the one who ends up helping them. Like, they end up being the ones who are dependent upon you. So they come in with this like rescuer sort of attitude, when really like they end up being dependent or needy upon you. I can see why you might be irritated with men as a collective. If you have known that, you have experienced that, I can see why that's annoying. Yeah. Again, may not be for all of you, but I'm just reading what I see. Okay. I don't know, the men you have encountered need to do better. It's like, they need to get in their divine masculine energy. Yeah, I feel like at this point, like if you are interested in men romantically, you're at a point to where you just want your life partner and you're kind of over the dating scene. You're like, I'll wait. You know, I'll wait before I settle. I'll wait. Yeah, you'll wait. It's like, I don't care. Yeah, like, I'm just waiting for fate to intervene here, because I'm done searching, I'm done looking, I'm not chasing, And that's why you seem like you're off in a corner by yourself, because you're like, nope. Not chasing, no man. Okay, so these are going to be details about your future romantic partner. So it's not going to be someone that you just chat with for a couple days and then that's it. It's going to be someone that you actually date, okay? I was telling group 1, I have a massive box full of these cards and I just haven't used them in a while and I wanted to. Okay. So they could have facial hair. So if you're interested in a man, mustache, beard, goatee, I don't know any other names. I think that's it. I don't know. They could have facial hair. They could work in a STEM-related profession. So they could be like an engineer, for example. They make good money, you know. They could be muscular, go to the gym, into health and fitness, could be outdoorsy, very active, fit person. And then we have, they could be a social media, or they could work in social media, or they could be an influencer, or their job causes them to have a social media presence. Like maybe they advertise their business, their services through social media. And they could just have a large following on social media. This could be someone who has a lot of friends on Facebook or a lot of followers on Instagram. They could have a YouTube channel, anything in relation to social media. Or it could be like they have a STEM-related career. So maybe they're an engineer, right? But then they have a side hustle where maybe they do like fitness videos on YouTube. You see, like this could play out in different ways. All right, so Group 2, this was your reading. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much to the subscriber who suggested this topic, and I will see you all in my next one. I'm wishing you the very, very best. Welcome to your reading. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to title this. This topic was suggested by a subscriber, but essentially what we're doing today is we're going to look at how men perceive you initially, so like their first impression, versus, how they feel about you, how they see you once they get to know you better, okay? So how does that perception change over time? And then we're also going to get some messages about how they see you romantically in case you're interested in that. If not, obviously just click off the reading at that point. And then we're also going to get some messages here, I've pre-pulled them, about your next romantic partner. So if you're single and you just want some details about the next person coming into your life, we're just going to get some messages here, and then we'll look at this at the end of your reading. So again, if you're not interested in that, you can click off. I just have a giant box full of these, and I don't use them a lot or as much as I should, and so I thought, why not just add a little extra layer to this reading? We're just having fun today, just vibing, just chilling. So let's get into it. Group 3, we're going to get one card to start us off. How they perceive you initially, first impression. A big thank you to my guides in Group 3, Spirit Guides, for coordinating these messages. Group 3, how do men perceive you initially? That was just my hand. Okay. How do men perceive you initially, their first impression? And then, how do they perceive you once they get to know you better? Group 3. Once they get to know you better, what is their impression once they get to know you? How do they look at you? Oh, that's interesting. Group 2 had this as their first card. You have it as your second card. Okay. So in the beginning, she who persists, we have perspective, defiant, and persistent. And then as they get to know you better, we have she who whispers, secrets, confessions, and confidant. Okay. So in terms of their first impression, you seem like you have a strong personality. You may rub some men the wrong way. You seem like a self-empowered woman. And I think that if men were in a distorted or debilitated masculine energy, right, they weren't in their divine masculine, they would feel really intimidated by you. They would feel emasculated by you, but they are emasculating themselves if they are intimidated by someone else being self-empowered and strong, right? Like, that's your own insecurity. That's really got nothing to do with me. Like, you should not feel threatened by my success. You should not feel threatened by my confidence. And if you do, that just means you have something to work on within yourself. That has nothing to do with me. Like, I can't be over here dulling my shine to suit you or to build you up. You have to build yourself up. If a man is in that kind of energy, I do feel like you intimidate them, like you make them feel insecure. But again, it's not you making them feel that way. They're doing it to themselves, okay? And I feel like some men may also say like, oh, you're being sassy, or you're being mouthy, or you know what I mean? Like, you may seem like a difficult woman. Like you don't come across as like someone who is easily molded or someone who is easily influenced. Like, you're not out here trying to win the approval of men. You're not here to bolster their ego. You're not here to help them be a man. They have to do that for themselves, right? Now, men who are in a divine masculine energy, I think that they would see you as someone who's really determined, someone who's really ambitious, someone who really has a great potential to go places if you haven't achieved success already. They just see you as someone who has a lot of resiliency. They see you as a strong person. They would have a lot of respect and admiration for you. They would look at you like, wow, like that's someone who could be like a real partner, a real teammate. Like, that's someone who has something to offer, someone who isn't going to look to me to take care of them. This is someone who is going to have something of value to add to the relationship, and someone that, like, we can help support each other and take care of each other in a way where there's reciprocity, and not in a way where it's, like, oh, they're dependent upon me for everything and it's unhealthy, right? So they would look at you in a very positive way. And so honestly, like, this is to your benefit. This is to your benefit because at the end of the day, those men who are in a debilitated energy and a distorted masculine energy, men who are misogynistic if you're a woman, men who are sexist, men who want to put a woman down to make themselves feel like a man, like those type of men, they're not going to want a woman like you. They're not. Because you're going to make them, well, from their perception, their perspective, you're making me feel emasculated, but they're doing that to themselves. And so at the end of the day, the type of man who's going to stick around, the type of man who's going to want a romantic future with you, again, if this is what you're interested in, they are going to be the ones in a divine masculine energy where, like, they are not looking to you to help bolster them up, like they're doing that for themselves. And, they're not feeling the need to act like a caveman, to like assert their masculinity or to try to be dominant over you or whatever. Like, it's to your benefit, ultimately. It may suck, to have to deal with that misogyny, but ultimately, like, it's to your benefit because those kind of men, they're going to feel intimidated by you, So, as they get to know you better, how do they view you? They see you as someone that they can trust. They see you as someone that they can trust. This is coming out in a very different way than it did for the other group. For your reading, it's like, I can trust you. Like, I think especially if you're a woman interested in a man, like, romantically, they look at you like, this is someone who isn't going to use me. This is someone who can make their own money. This is someone who can support themselves, someone who can take care of themselves. Like, this isn't someone who's going to exploit me for my resources, my time, my effort, my money. Like, like group 3. I'm sorry if I've called you group 1 at all. I don't know. I feel like maybe I did that at some point. Group 3 can take care of themselves. They're not going to be essentially like a leech, you know, like draining me dry and on to the next. Yeah, they look at you like, this is someone that I can trust. This is someone who, if I'm going through a hard time, like, they're going to hold me down. And like I said, it's going to be a divine masculine who sticks around for you, group 3. It's going to be someone who can offer you a healthy partnership, because every other man is too intimidated, is going to feel too emasculated by you, right? Because you're a strong woman. If you're a woman watching this, you're a strong woman. And I think even if you're a man watching this and you're interested in other men, I feel like this can still apply. Like, because you're strong within yourself, you know, and you may be watching this as a divine masculine, you need another divine masculine romantically, right? Like, it's not going to work with a distorted or debilitated masculine person. It's not going to work, because they're going to feel emasculated. It's not your fault, but that's what's going to happen. Okay? It can get confusing with all the genders and stuff. So anyway, I hope that's clear to you. I hope it's making sense. Okay. Let's see just some more information about this. Let's get just a clarifying card for this first impression. We've got the 2 of Swords. Yeah, like, they see you as someone who doesn't put up with any BS. They see you as someone who draws, like, almost like a hard line in the sand. Like, these are my standards. These are my expectations. These are my boundaries. This is what I will tolerate, what I will not tolerate, not just romantically, but I feel like in your professional life, if you work with other men, even if it's like your supervisor, you're like, you're not going to treat me just any kind of way. Let me tell you, when I was working in this counseling clinic, I had a boss who didn't have the same academic credentials as me and some of my female coworkers. Don't ask me how they got their position. I don't know, but they didn't have, I don't think, any sort of college education. They may have had an associate's degree, I don't know. But at that time, I had my bachelor's, I was working on my master's, I was doing my internship through my job, and some of my coworkers who were women had their masters. And we didn't judge this person or look at this person in a negative way when they started their job. We weren't looking at them like they were lesser than us because they didn't have that college background, because we were told at that time, came to light later, it was a little bit of a different story, but we were told at that time that this person had all of this experience. So we weren't looking at them in any sort of negative way, but they felt emasculated. This guy who was my supervisor, he felt emasculated, and he projected that insecurity onto us about not having that academic background. And he was just super disrespectful and would act in a way to assert his position as our boss in a way that was really unnecessary. Like, if you have to tell me that you have authority, I think that's the moment that you lost it. Like, if you were a good boss, you would just be a leader. And so he would do things like, holler at you from down the hall from his office rather than walk down 10 steps to speak to you. He would just holler down the hall from his office, wouldn't even get up out of his chair. It's just really unprofessional to be yelling across an office like that. It's disruptive for counseling sessions that are going on. It's a HIPAA violation. It's just not professional. But he would continue to do that. And you just do things like that. Like if you were engaged in something, he would come by and expect your immediate attention. Even if you were doing something important, even if you said, excuse me, can you just give me a minute? Let me finish this task so I don't make a mistake, and then I will see to whatever you need. Didn't matter. Like, it had to be right then. Drop everything. I need you. Doesn't matter if you're in the middle of talking to a patient. Like, it was just very disrespectful. I think you get what I'm saying. I don't have to keep giving examples, but I feel like even in your professional life, you may encounter that, like just men just being like jerks for no reason, but it's because of that need to assert their masculinity because they feel emasculated. And it's not your fault that you're confident. It's not your fault that you're smart. It's not your fault that you are a strong person, okay? It's not your fault that you have a strong work ethic. It's not your fault. Like, what are you supposed to be? Like a watered down version of yourself so they can feel good? Like, nah. And again, I don't think this is every man. I think that if you're just encountering this in your life, know that it's not on you. They are in a distorted, debilitated energy, and they need to work on their own relationship with their masculinity. It has nothing to do with you, okay? Like, group 3, you're not doing anything wrong, okay? It's not your fault. And again, like, I feel like ultimately it's to your benefit. You may have like more tension with your male colleagues, or you may get asked out on fewer dates, you know, like you may have that, but ultimately it's to your benefit because no distorted masculine person is getting past this barrier. Like, you have set this line, this hard line. If you're coming with the nonsense, group 3's not having it. Okay, as they get to know you better, that was too many cards. Just want 1 or 2 cards, Spirit. Queen of Swords. Of course you're the Queen of Swords. Like, of course. She's the baddest. I love me some Queen of Swords. Yeah, nah. Y'all are advocates. Like, you're not afraid to speak up for yourself. You're not afraid to speak up for what is right. You're not afraid to speak up for others. You're not sitting over here biting your tongue, letting anyone disrespect you or run their mouth. Nah. Like, Queen of Swords, like, she has boundaries like nobody else. Like, yeah, you're not pulling a fast one. You're not screwing over group 3. You're not tolerating any kind of disrespect, you know? And I think that the men who are going to stick around and get to know you on that deeper level, or the men that you're going to allow to be in your energy, in your space, let's just call it what it is. Oh, I'm seeing the orange kitty cat outside. There's a stray cat that I feed outside. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that's a sign of good luck. So just, you know, as a side message here, if you've been feeling unlucky, your luck may be changing for the positive here. But anyway, so yeah, with that Queen of Swords, like, I feel like the men that you let be in your life, that you allow into your life, know that they have to treat you the way that you deserve to be treated, and they have to treat you with respect, because otherwise it's just not going to work. Let's get some more information here. 3 of Cups, and that's when you're able to let your guard down. That's when you're able to have fun. That's when you're able to show your softer side. You know, like, you do have a hard outer shell. And like the other 2 groups, like, you do have a hard outer shell. You do have some walls, but it's like the fortress to your castle. You know, like, you're protecting your power here, and it is what it is, you know? And so if a man wants to get to this place with you, where you can have fun and you can joke around and you can be soft and you can be more in your feminine energy and you can express yourself. It's like, I can't be a woman, if you're a woman watching this, I can't be a woman if you're not being a man. Like, I can't be in my feminine energy if I have to be a man for you, like, because you're so debilitated in your masculinity. Like, yeah, you know, you may have had relationships where you felt like you had to take the lead, or you had to be the one to get stuff done because, you know, the man that you were with was just dropping the ball. You know, it's like, if you can't handle your affairs, if you can't get your life together, if you can't get your ducks in a row, then yeah, I am going to have to step up, and I am going to have to nag you, and I am going to have to assert myself, because you're being a joke. Like, if you don't want me telling you what to do, then handle your stuff. I wouldn't have to nag you if you would just step up to the plate to begin with. So some of you may have dealt with that. Or you may have dealt with that in your professional life. Like, I have to compensate for your inability to step up and be a man and do what you got to do to get the job done. So now I have to do it. You know? And some of you may have developed this attitude over time. Like, if I want to do something, if I want something done, I have to do it myself. Because otherwise, it's just not going to get done. So that may have contributed to this, like, fiercely kind of independent energy here. I also feel like, honestly, you know, if there's a debilitated, distorted masculine energy around you, they're intimidated by your intelligence. Yeah. But yeah, you know, there is a softer, you know, fun side to you. There's a side to you that just wants to have a good time, but it's like, I can't let that side of myself out unless I feel safe. And if you're not making me feel safe, I mean, what am I supposed to do? You know, like, I'm not going to be out here just letting myself get my heart broken all over the place. I'm not going to let myself be disrespected. So yeah, I mean, you're just protective over yourself. With the Nine of Pentacles here, there is sort of this energy of, like, can I afford group 3? Like, can I think both in terms of, like, money, but also in terms of, like, effort. Like, men may come at you and act like you're high maintenance, but it's like, am I high maintenance, or are you just not putting enough in? Or, like, have you just been allowed to be a F-boy for too long? Or have you just been allowed to do the bare minimum? You're not coming towards me with the bare minimum. Like, you know, like, I feel, I don't know, I feel like you're a bad witch, group 3. Like, you know, you're a force to be reckoned with. I'll say that. Yeah, like, you're not one to be trifled with over here. And I also feel like, you know, you have your own coins. You have your own thing going over here. So it's like, yeah, you want me to step off my pedestal? I don't think so. I don't think so. So, you know, because of that, you may have to, again, like, wait around longer, or you may have to cut off people more frequently. But it's like, when you do get into a romantic partnership, if you're interested in men, if you do get into a romantic partnership with them, they're going to be someone who's your equal, because you're not settling for anything less. Yeah, it's like, I'll wait, you know, like, I'll wait. That's fine. And it is, I think, a longer process. Probably, I mean, probably the longest out of all the groups today to really get to know you, and that's saying something. That's saying something. Because, yeah, group 2 and 1 weren't really very open either, but it still takes some time. You know what? You may attract debilitated or distorted masculine energy because they want to be the ones to conquer you, to win you over, to brag about, like, oh, you know what? Why is Sandra Bullock coming up so much? I've mentioned her in another group as well. The movie, I think it's The Proposal, or even like Miss Congeniality. Yeah, like, you seem like really tough and like uptight even. to like a distorted, debilitated masculine, but then they still kind of like try to pursue you as a way to like brag about, oh yeah, group 3's so uptight, but I was able to get with them. Yeah, but they find out really fast. Yeah, it's not happening. It's not happening. Not happening. You may play into it just to put them in their place, I'm hearing. You might have some fun with it sometimes. Yeah, like that Knight of Wands. Like you may have those kind of guys come through where they're just trying to, you know, guys who are kind of just players. That may happen sometime, but I feel like they think they're playing the game, but then you're like, nah, I'm gonna play you. You thought you knew how this was gonna go? Mm-mm. Y'all are funny, group 3. Okay, so let's get some details about your next romantic partner, okay? If you're not interested in this, I hope you have a great day. Thank you for watching the reading. Okay, let's see. So they could work in human resources, or they could have a job where they have to interact with customers, the general public. They may, have like clients where they have to give a lot of face time. They could have a job where they have to talk a lot, and where sort of people's perception of you matters, where image is important, and where you do have to be likable, okay? Or even a job that involves resolving conflicts. Okay. Oh, magnetic, it factor, okay? So your next romantic partner is gonna have that it factor about them, that je ne sais quoi. I probably said that wrong. They're going to be really charismatic, really charming. And I'm glad to see that because group 3, quite honestly, you need someone who's going to be confident. You need someone who's confident and not like a bravado, pseudo-masculine kind of way where they're acting like, I don't know, again, like a caveman or something. Yeah, you need someone who's like genuinely confident. You need that because you're strong within yourself, so you need a strong person next to you. Oh, sales related. Yeah, I mean, you have to put in a lot of face time with sales, and your personality does matter. So if they are a salesperson or someone who does something that involves sales, like a realtor, could be. Maybe they work in real estate. I think they've said that about real estate. Like, it's not the house that sells, it's the realtor, right? Like, it's how you present it. So I do think that their personality makes them really good at their job. Their charm. And they could have curly or textured hair. I'm not surprised. Like, you got 3 cards that were sort of related to their career. So I think that you are going to, or at least maybe you're really interested in someone who is professionally successful, someone who is stable financially, someone who's got their stuff together. Like, you're not out here looking for a man or looking to date a person who is going to be like a sponge, someone who is living in their parents' basement, like that's not your deal. Like, it's really, really important to you that they have that hustle, they have that work ethic, they're responsible, they're reliable, they're not looking to me to pay their bills, like no scrubs. That's your vibe, group 3. Like, you are very goal-oriented, and I think you want to be with someone who is just as like ambitious and driven and motivated as you are to get somewhere in life, All right, group 3, this was your reading. I had so much fun doing this. Thank you to the subscriber who suggested this topic. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful. I hope it brought you some clarity. I think especially if you're single and you're dating and you're interested in men romantically, I could see this hopefully being a helpful reading to help you understand, like the energy you're putting out and how it's being perceived and how men are responding to it. So yeah, Group 3, this was your reading, and I'm wishing you the very, very best, and hopefully I see you in my next one.